What sound is it this morning? I have no ideas. I'm reacting in silence. Howdy, howdy, howdy. Nearly senior citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends. And welcome to this, a day when, oh my gosh, from the shoulders to my fingers, I hurt so much. My hands, they hurt all the time anyway. And I've been thinking about that, so let me come back to that, because right now, fan off in the window, nothing going outside, it's cooler, gonna hit in the late 70s, maybe even into the early 80s temperature-wise. Oh boy! No high contrast over here. I've left the door open to show you inside just how much has changed here. Now, will I be able to remember what I was talking about? I'll talk about this right now, real quick then. I have had pain in my fingers for a long time. Even 10 years back, well, even more. When I was married to my wife early in our marriage, if I moved this little finger side to side, it would burn all the way up to my elbow. Well, that was an interesting gasp as I inhaled. Well, that sounds like a nerve issue, doesn't it? If it burns all the way down my arm. And it would do that over here too. Burn all the way down. But only periodically, not all the time. And now I find out that I've been getting slow pinching of my radial nerve because of spinal stenosis, just compression of my nerves because of, for whatever reason, the bone is growing inward. And you know what? That's the radial nerve. You know what the radial nerve really controls? Aside from just regular stuff here, the radial nerve is in charge of fingers. You know what fingers really hurt on both hands? These two fingers, both hands. Huh. I wonder if all the pain I've been having in my hands is not because of arthritis or anything, but because here, compression and irritation of the nerves here making my fingers hurt. Because it's these fingers, not these ones. And when I severed my radial nerve here before, these fingers were, these fingers and these fingers felt separately affected. These ones couldn't move either, but these ones felt really awful, and they still do. It's these ones that are bad. These two are bad, but not as. So there's something with the radial nerve, both hands. So the fact that it's both hands, both fingers, both controlled by the same nerves, makes me feel that, oh, yeah, I wouldn't be treated for anything. But at the same time, when I take the gabapentin, it works pretty good for taking care of the nerve pain here. But it doesn't really do so much with the fingers, so I don't know. Just thought I'd bring that up. Yay! Oh boy, I moved some stuff yesterday from my bed, well, in here, to downstairs, and from my bedroom to downstairs to try and separate stuff. Trying not to move stuff too big and too heavy, but I had two bits of framework for a bed frame that my wife had before she met me that was on her bed, and then we got married, and then it became our bed with the frame on it, and then we moved. We used the bed frame as much as we could. I moved here after she died. I don't really want to take up a lot of space in my room with a headboard, a footboard, and the two side frames. So I've had the frames in here and the headboard and the footboard in the other room there. They're big and they're bulky and they're more awkward. Excuse me, being organic again. And they're awkward, and I had to carry them downstairs and move them and put my arms in the same, criminy. And put them into awkward positions to get downstairs, and yeah, they don't feel all that good today. And my moving around, oh boy, I can get my arm over, about this far today, no further. And this one, still I can reach and do stuff, and it's not as irritated, but it's pretty irritated. And I need to go to Walmart and get some more bins. But I have been moving and trying to get as much stuff separated as I can. Again, I got to go through this stuff in my bedroom and make sure to condense it down. I was thinking about it. Yeah, it's a 10 by 10 approximate that I'm paying for, $120, but it's shorter and taller. So a lot of the space here is up above. So I have to stack high with not heavy things because there's just not a ton of otherwise room. So that part's not great, but livable. And yeah, holy smokes. Boy, oh boy. This side is really the range is not good, but it's not a muscular, I mean it is a muscular, so the muscles and the nerves hurt when the nerves tweak, but I can do stuff and reach, but coming back down from that, it's joyous. And of course tugging obsessively on my shirt, since as I've stated, I've put on weight. I have been fighting my weight here. I'm up to approximately 220 right now. I definitely don't want to get any heavier than that, and I don't like being as heavy as I am. I made fun of things and have honestly been thinking of doing this, saying, hey, I'm going to start up an OnlyFans, because I was like, had heft up here. But oh boy, 220 is like, boy, I'm almost need me a double 8 cup, so I need to take care here. Whew. But checking the rest of my list. Yes, I am likely to go dark end of the month unless I have a bunch of videos stacked up and ready to go. Because my phone is just a flip phone. And it's not powerful enough. I mean, sure, it's a smartphone. It's got a little thing like this. Yay. But when you go to the screen to do stuff, it's itty bitty tiny. And you can't put a web page on that and be able to read it. And these keys are the type that, GHI. So you've got to quickly, if you want to do the I, you got to go whap, whap, whap to get it to the I. Typing like that is so painful. I was just getting a phone for 2-factor authentication. But then the Verizon coverage is spotty out of the Veterans Village, so if I actually get the place out there, a Verizon phone may not be good, so I may need to get a actual smartphone month by month and then just try to keep the number. But for right now, I can't make videos on the phone. I'm not going to have a place here after the 30th. I don't know where I'm going to be, nor do I know if there's going to be actual internet there. If I can make it in to the Veterans Village by the end of the month, might have internet by the beginning of next month. But if I don't, it's going to be super sporadic, which I don't like, but life is life. As it is, I'm going to have everything moved out of here on the 29th. On the morning of the I got to be careful pulling my arm back. I just realized. I gesture without thinking about it because I have used my hands to talk with my entire life. So I get myself into positions with this arm that suddenly I realize it's a bad idea because it hurts like hell when I move it, or I realize I'm in a bad position and this hurt already while I was recording. So moving my arm back ain't gonna be yay. Spinal compression. Yay. Well, spinal stenosis. It's not compressing my spine yet. Okay, on my list here also, one of the things that yesterday I didn't get anything done. I was so exhausted from absolutely everything. I've stated that I am exhausted mentally, physically, and emotionally, and I am. Yesterday, whenever anything slowed down at all, I fell asleep. I got nothing done. At 6:30, my sister called me, and I woke up again. I went walkies late. I went to Walmart and back, and then I got to bed late-ish and woke up at about 7:15-ish, which for me is very, very late. Well, 45 minutes past when I normally wake. So I'm, my body, something in my eye. So I can't remember what I was talking about, but it was joy. So falling asleep all yesterday and stuff. So I barely even played anything. One of the things that I did do though, when I got back, at some point I unlocked another character in Halls of Torment. So I may do a Halls of Torment video today just to get rid of stress and to go, hey, because I'm still doing stuff that I'm ending up in like 5% of people that have done stuff. So yay, hyperfixation. And yay, stuff in my eye. Right in the corner, it feels like there's like a rock. So let me dig my fingernails through my eyelids. Not through, but over. There we go. Okay, the Orb Weaver. There was a spider yesterday that I was talking about where she had a web up there and I was worried about her, and then I had to get some audio stuff and it tore down her web, and I felt bad about that. I felt awful. But then she remade her orb and it hooked up to my little camera bag that I had over there. And so for a day and some, I let her be up there and tried my best to not move anything. But yesterday, I needed my bag to go walkies. So I had to move the bag. And yeah, just like what I was afraid of, there were so many of her anchor lines attached to the bag that the entire web just came down. Good God, I've got to stop doing that. I'm getting myself into positions that I don't want to be in. I whip my arms around because I've spent 60 years whipping my arms around when I talk. It is hard to break that habit, muscle memory. Good golly, Miss Molly. But it tore down her web. And that one did the trick. She's gone. When I went walkies, I didn't see her anywhere over there. I've looked in that general area to see if she made a web just where I couldn't see it. I don't know if she's alive or dead. Somebody tweeted about how, when I talked about how there was a spider there, don't put my arm over there. When I tweeted about how there's a spider in my room and I was worried about her, and this person said, well, she'd probably be happier outside. Yes and no, because outside it's dangerous. We forget the world is dangerous. It is resource competition. Every single thing that is alive is carefully hoarding all of its resources. It is resource competition, and we are all resources that other things are competing over. So putting the little spider outside, would she have been happier? Maybe, but there is so much out there that is just waiting to eat a little spider. Would she have been happier? I don't know. So, I've tweeted back that I think about this stuff philosophically. And I have been for some time. When she was there, I have been debating hard, philosophically. Because if she came in and I hadn't seen her, I never would have known she was here. She would have lived and died without my ever having realized it. So what responsibility do I have toward her if she's in here and I don't know it? Does that change just because I know she's here? Is it my responsibility to make sure that she is safe and healthy just because I know of her presence? Leaving her to live and die while knowing about her, is that any different than leaving her to live and die without knowing about her? I've opened up that closet. And in fact, when I did so this last time, big bunch of webs up in the corner, one big dead cellar spider surrounded by a whole bunch of tiny dead cellar spiders. They all lived and died up there, and I didn't even know they were there. If I had known about them, would it have been my responsibility to make sure that they were fed? We too are creatures of this world. We too are animals that are dominating the surface of this planet. Which is a quick aside, if hopefully I can make this just a quick aside. The fact that we have dominated the surface of the planet, that's not unusual and wrong either for life on our planet. Camels, if they had a choice and a chance, they would fill the world with just camels. Elephants, if they had a chance, would fill the world with elephants. Bees would fill the world with bees. I mean, that's just a natural part of life. It's just that we, as members of the primate family, as branches, and we are of the great apes variety, as this type of primate, we have just done and been able to do what every other life form on the face of the planet is trying to do. It's just that we were able to do it, so we've dominated. Now to try and remember what I was talking about. Was it about spiders and life? I think so. Parentheticals are dangerous when you have severe ADHD, and I can't take meds for it. Yay! But one thing I did want to talk about real quick is on my settings, I have introduced characters through stuff that could be and should be a whole lot more. I've talked about my character Iron John. Iron John in this setting is an inorganic person that is a person. In the process of making inorganic people, they become people. And on the setting that I have, human intelligence makes a certain quantum pattern with quantum things, with quantum knotting. Each person has a different and separate pattern. If you have a human type, if you're a human, you're going to have a certain type of pattern. These inorganics have that same type of pattern. So, I've introduced the character as they've done this, they were born as this inorganic on this layer, they lived their life, they've grown, they went and got their job, and it's sort of more of a socialist communist commune instead of an industrial plant as we would know it, but it's still an industrial plant. And he was born as part of it, but he's working his way up, learning that he can work the machines, and he's good at being a manager. And at some point, he not accidentally, they need him in a managerial position, and he proves that he can not only do the managerial work, but he can also, he can also do managerial supervising. So he proves himself to be good at, working the field, working the machines on the floor, and supervising the floor, working the managerial position, and supervising managerial over the top of other managers. Proves himself to be very, very useful, and is quite proud of his position and all that. He goes from John to, he stays at John. I can't even remember the progression of names. Oh my gosh. But he gets progressed, and then he's the big plant supervisor. Everyone is proud of him. And as the board and council are made up of everyone that lives there, he gets a shell. Which is every inorganic has a shell that's their body. They are able to replace his shell, give him something that is I call it K-Fab, but is a keratoferrous alloy that is extremely powerful and strong. Keratoferrous alloy is just keratin, our skin, and iron. But this stuff turns out to be incredibly powerful. But they're able to replace his body, give him an effective brain transplant. You have a neural chip, which is your personality. There is a neural modular base unit that chip clips into, and that board of sorts is the gray and white matter that runs the body. The neural chip is your personality, and then they clip that into a shell, and then the neural gel inside of it forms the nerves, sensory and motor, and then fills in his muscles as well. They're able to put his neural modular base unit, unclip it, put it into this other shell, put it into this other shell, and then he quickly adapts to it and is able to get up and start moving in about a third of the time that it would have taken anyone else. Then he becomes Iron John, and he is proud of his new shell. It's technically will last about 100,000 years, and it's just we're proud of you. No one's going to live 100,000 years because your neural stuff degrades over time. You're only going to live about 80 years, sometimes up to 120. It all depends on how things degrade. But he gets that shell. Then there is an event where the static energy that is made up the razor's edge can sometimes build up inside the razor's edge, and it does. And over a 10,000 year period, this energy drains into Iron John, turning him into a being of power. But while this is happening, it cuts off their layer from everybody else. So everybody there lives out the rest of their lives and then dies, leaving Iron John alone. So he puts himself in a low power mode, and then time passes. 1.4 million years pass until somebody comes by. It activates his stuff. He wakes up, finds out it's 1.4 million years, tries to integrate into the present with people, can't let go of the pain of the past, until finally it is too much and he is literally paralyzed because he can't go into the future carrying this ball of pain, but he can't drop the ball of pain. So he spends some time literally, physically, and mentally paralyzed until he can work his way through this, because you can't carry your ball of pain into the future. You have to put the ball of pain down so you can integrate with the present and go on into the future. So he manages to do that and then is able to get up and continue going into the future. That's the introduction to the character. Anybody with any skill could turn the Iron John being born, Iron John's life, and Iron John being in his shell and being Iron John to the end of that first book being the glamours were cut off. We're stuck. Then we start off the second book is they find out exactly what's going on, how they're cut off, why nothing works. And then, over the next 100 years, all the organics start to die. Old age. All the inorganics are starting to die. Old age. And then for 100 years, after everyone is not gone, Iron John just tries to do as much as he can to call for help. But finally, the loneliness is too much. So this story is how everybody dies over time as they struggle to survive until, gosh darn it, until they get to the point that there's no one left but Iron John, and he puts himself into low power mode. I'm doing it again immediately. He puts himself into low power mode, which he expects this to be death. He's going to put himself in a low power mode, and he's never going to come out of it. He's expecting this to be death. Book 3 starts when somebody wanders in and Iron John wakes up and discovers it's 1.4 million years have passed. And it's his struggles to try and integrate with the present while carrying that ball of pain. Because when he thinks of the past, he gets this pain in his chest, and there's this loud bang, bang, bang from inside of his chest. Because he's carrying this ball of pain. And his attempts to try and live with people until it's too much and he goes out on his own. And that's where he's trying to build a place that he can just be there, and it's just too much. That ball of pain he's carrying is so heavy he literally sinks to his knees with a deep sigh and is just paralyzed. And it's only after being able to deal with it mentally and just being a part of the world where he is, watching the insects go by, listening to life as it rustles, watching the trees as the seasons pass, listening to the stream in the distance, until finally he's able to put down that ball of pain. And he stands up. And he's able to integrate into the present, going into where people are again. He still has pain, but it's not crippling like it had been. You just stop for a moment, you feel it, and then you keep going. Now, he's going to continue his life and do wild adventures into the future, but I would think his integration and then a chapter of him after he's integrated showing that he's happy, and then that's the end of that book. Someone with skill could turn that into at least a 2-book or 3-book thing like I've just talked about. And I worked that excuse me, I worked all that out just to introduce the character so I can start writing about him. So there's a 3-book series that I have just thought of just to introduce the character and not ever do anything with. Yeah, I should be smart and write up like Iron John's story. And that's just one of the characters for the setting I've got. Yay! And at 26 minutes, I am so sorry. I want to thank each and every one of my Patreon patrons. Can't have them up here on the list. I record and edit on my PS4 carefully. I want to thank each and every one of you and my PayPal people who have donated in the past, and all the people who got donated to my GoFundMe. Thank you so very much. It is appreciated. I'm going to thank how many people have left me comments in the past 24 hours, which, especially today, was not many at all. But anything more than 0 is awesome. Thank you so very much. So let me turn off this spotlight first, and then I'm going to call up my Chrome, because we have Wesley Crystal, who is talking about my Volbeat Cape of Our Hero reaction. Thank you very, very much. JAYY, greatly appreciated. Thumbs up, and thank you very much. Adonis Rivera, I certainly hope my guinea pigs get rehomed well. And I actually recorded a tiny video of the little spider, but I forgot. I packed up my my card reader, and I don't know where it is. So it's on a small SD card. Then we have Made in Canada. Thumbs up. Thank you very, very much. And it'll work out, I'm hoping. And then I Take a Sid. Thumbs up. Thank you much. And that is it. 5 people who left me comments in the past 24 hours. Greatly appreciated. You get me out of my head, into the world, and dealing with people. Yeah, the gabapentin's starting to work. And dealing with real people. Thumbs up and thank you. So it's late, but thank you so very, very much. It is Saturday. I'm going to move stuff as best I can, because whenever I move stuff later on, I mean, even doing this hurts. Nerves. So do what you can, and if you don't do anything today, that's okay too. It's a weekend. You should take it easy. So, until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side, and then it's definitely a very good thing. I can't stop talking with my hands and waving my arms around. As much as it hurts, it's use it or lose it with human bodies. You don't use your range of motion, you lose your range of motion. That sucks. So, like it or not, I gotta go as far as I can. Still, it's not the muscles, it's just the nerves, so there is no, God, I'm super organic today. There is no real high contrast location I can put this in, so that'll do the best I can. So you take care. God, I can't even lift my arm straight up like this. Nice, oh, I need surgery. As soon as I get a stable place to move. I'll be dark for a while once I get my neck operated on. You take care.